doing this True Crime Thursday. This today, instead of the Boris show, this is the Jana and Jonna show, just because I like saying Jana and Jonna.
What a ring
I think
to
that's
it.
so fun.
It is.
Right. So we're doing a True Crime Thursday. All right, so here's why we're going a little off script today with Boris not here to keep us on script.
Right.
And here's what I thought. You are a true crime aficionado. Yes. One of your bucket list items is to attend CrimeCon. You told me that as I was on my way to CrimeCon this year, right? So maybe next year you'll get to go.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, we did a segment on my Positively Legal podcast where we talked about cases where we thought the jury got it wrong. Like true crime cases where maybe somebody was guilty and we thought, jury should have come back with an acquittal, or vice versa. But typically in a lot of these true crime cases, as you know, because you follow them, most of the time the defendant is getting convicted.
Right.
Most of the time. So then I thought, all right, we'll each come to the table with one of these true crime cases that we think the jury got it wrong. So here's what I want to do first. On the count of three.
We're going to have the same one. I have a feeling.
On the count of three, we're each going to say at the same time what our jury got it wrong case is.
Okay.
And then I'll talk about mine, and then you can talk about yours. Unless they're the same, then we'll jinx it, and I have some backups.
Okay.
All right, are you ready? Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Caylee Anthony.
I
knew it.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Well, maybe because a lot of people might have that one.
That is a big one. I think that's one of the most popular.
I can't believe, even when I was, I followed that case, obviously. And when I was going back through the notes, I'm saying to myself, because this trial happened back in 2011. So what's that, 15 years ago.
Wow.
And I said to myself, how on earth did Jose Baez, who is an okay lawyer, how on earth did he get an acquittal? So I was going through the highlights, and I think I kind of figured it out. But, okay, so here's what I think. Now, just for people, as a reminder, the Caylee Anthony case was a case where there was a mother by the name of Caylee Anthony, kind of a youngish mother. She probably was in her 20s.
22.
Had a adorable little girl who at the time, I believe, was about 3, whose name was Caylee Anthony.
Yep.
And Caylee Anthony goes missing for 31 days before anybody, I think it was her grandmother, so Casey's mother, finally figures out, hey, where's my grandbaby at, right? You don't see a grandkid for 31 days when you live close
by,
right? It's kind of odd. So she figures out that something's wrong. That triggers a whole investigation. Caylee Anthony doesn't say crap about it. She offers no information, but she's going out and living the time of her life, and she makes up some, I don't know if they were text messages or what have you, that the last she saw her daughter was with the nanny, whose name was Zanny, the nanny, which was made up for Xanax, we think.
Oh my gosh, when I was looking at reviewing things, there was a phone call from one of her friends, and they said, the nanny that you gave, her name doesn't exist. And you know what Caylee Anthony's response was? Well, because they're only looking in the Florida database. She hasn't only lived in Florida. They have to look in other states. Like the FBI wasn't looking in other states.
But that's another thing. One of the characteristics about Caylee Anthony that her own lawyer copped to was that she was a pathological liar.
Yeah.
She could, when her lips were moving, she was not telling the truth. So little Caylee Anthony is missing for 31 days. The mother's offering no help whatsoever. Not worried. Your kid, your 3-year-old goes missing. You're a young mother. You don't call the cops, if that's the case?
I have a 4-year-old son, and if he was missing out of my sight for even
5
30
minutes.
seconds, I would be freaking out. Who knows what he could get into or could get into him?
So that's clue number 1. Clue number 2, they do find the skeletal remains of little Caylee Anthony. I forget how long after, but because so much time had passed, they could not tell the cause of death. And when you're talking crime, you've got cause of death and manner of death, right? Sometimes those two are very connected, and sometimes you can't tell. For example, could this child have accidentally died and her idiot mother covered it up, which would not be murder, which is what she was charged with.
Right.
Could that have happened? Yes. So, but did it happen? I mean, when you look at her behavior, and then you look at her, I think what she tried to do was blame her father for drowning the youngster in the pool. That fell flat. When you look at the fact that she was going out and clubbing while her kid was missing, she didn't contact the police, nothing.
And people that she was clubbing with, they were asked, hey, did you ever hear about her missing daughter? They're like, nope. She never said anything.
Right. So when you take all of that, we call that circumstantial evidence, which is still solid evidence, right? Oftentimes when you are trying to solve a crime, you don't have eyewitness evidence of the crime being committed so often in so many crimes. So circumstantial evidence puts the pieces of the puzzle together. But in this case, with all of that, with all of her weird behavior, with all of the fact that she didn't do what normal parents would have done under the circumstances, with all of that, there was also DNA and forensic evidence in the trunk of her car.
Yeah, her own mother at one point had said she brought the car over and it smelled like a dead body had been inside. Your own mother to say that is crazy.
Right. And there were hair fibers and there was all of these pieces were adding up. Now, the one thing I can't remember if she testified, I'm going to say she didn't. I don't know. I've got to look up whether
I feel like I remember her tearful on the stand only because she tried to claim that abuse from her father made her so messed up and made her a pathological liar that covered up her child's death. Blows my mind.
We're going to look that up because if I were representing her, I probably would not have put her on the stand, but that doesn't mean that she didn't testify. Okay, so with all of that evidence, the jury came back with a not guilty verdict. They convicted her of one thing. I think they convicted her of some misdemeanor.
It was like negligence or something like that. It was something so minuscule compared to what should happen in a child's death, especially your own.
And then I don't think she did any time because she had gotten time served. This says she did not testify.
Okay.
But that doesn't, maybe she testified. Or
yeah, it could have been something else.
Could have been something like that. So in that case, I'm trying to figure out was the jury brain dead? Because how do you not
convict her?
And I think what they did, and this is actually, if you're a criminal defense attorney, this is precisely what you want a jury to do. They parsed out the evidence and said, she's an idiot. We think she's a liar. We don't like her. We get all that. But because the prosecution could not prove beyond a reasonable doubt how that child died, when that child died, what the manner, what the cause of, which, well, think about it this way. This is sending the message that if you can kill somebody and hide it long enough, you could get away with murder.
Which is terrifying.
Terrifying. So, and even though this happened back in 2011, we still had a lot of scientific methods. It wasn't like, 100 years ago.
Right.
So, for that reason, the jury said no proof beyond a reasonable doubt on that one issue. Therefore, we're going to let this crazy, she wasn't legally crazy. She was just a horrible person.
I feel she's crazy.
Horrible person. Yeah. And they let her go, which makes me wonder, what kind of life do you what is Caylee Anthony doing now?
From all accounts I see, she's living it up. Didn't she at one point, I think she tried to write a book or did write a book, and she went on a whole media run I was so tarnished, my reputation. Girl, your child was missing and you were dancing on tables.
Yeah, right, exactly. I wonder if she's making money because who would hire her?
Yeah.
To do anything.
To do anything.
Yeah, we should also look that up. So she is she's living life. She's living her best life, and in that case, even though I understand why the jury did what they did, if they were really parsing out, taking an X-Acto knife to that evidence, which is what you want when you're representing somebody, I think they really got it wrong.
Yeah.
And if she were being tried today, see, I think sometimes jurors are okay jumping over that, ignoring the fact that you don't have a cause and manner of death, to get to a guilty verdict when their guts and their hearts are telling them that's the thing to do.
Well, you would think that this would be that kind of case where their gut would say, okay, a little girl is dead and her mother didn't even say anything.
Mm-hmm. So that's the case. That one sticks out. I have it. Do you have any others? Do you have any?
That was my one. So we can, we'll go to commercial and then we'll check out your backup. Because I'm interested. Yeah.
I have 2 backups.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
We'll be right back.
That's so funny we have the same one.
I figured.